Perfect. So my strategy for this week is small groups and partners. This is on page 300 through 305 in our assigned textbook. So this is called skills grouping. It's based on arranging students in groups based on their need for instruction on a specific skill, and it can be applied to different subjects. Partner work is a form of cooperative learning and gives English learners opportunities for verbal interaction. So it's another form of peer tutoring. Okay, you can think of it as peer tutoring. The step by step for small groups is to observe and document the language levels. So when you are pulling groups, you want to make sure that the students that are in your group are around the same level, have the same needs, so that you're just addressing a specific skill. Uh, so even though you are addressing the same skill with all of your or with those that actually need it, definitely have students around the same language level. The next step by step is review needs for instruction. Have a system to collect student work so that you can uh, make sure that the small details are being addressed so that it doesn't become a bigger problem. So, for example, one issue I had, well, it wasn't an issue, just something I noticed was some students were simplifying fractions and others weren't. And they didn't see a need to do it, but I found that as a problem, and it was very easy to collect work and see which students did and didn't get that portion correct. The design and implement lessons is the next step. Think about what you can do to have students that already know the skill continue to improve, and those that don't know to be able to rotate into either cooperative groups or partner groups or partner work so that they can work with a teacher or work with I guess you could call this one a specialist in the skill so that they could receive the help that they need. For partner work, uh, first step is to pair the students. Ideally, you'll get one student that is a specialist in that specific skill, and the other will just be a student that is very close in their language level. So I found in my fifth grade class, one student had one top student in English and language. I had him partnered with one of my English learners. That was probably the worst pairing I could have done because my English learner didn't feel comfortable speaking English with one of my top students in language arts. So uh, definitely pair your English learners with top other top students that are very fluent in English and in Spanish. Okay, uh, identify and train the potential tutors. So to grab your tutor, the person, the specialist, and show them how you would want them to show other students the skill, so that they're not just doing the work for them; they're actually having the 2D, uh, you know, they're having the 2D go with, I guess you could call it, ask their own Socratic questions. I guess you'd be teaching the tutor Socratic questions in this section. Match students. Uh, Once the tutors have been taught, have them pair up with their 2D and have them work with each other on the skill for a little bit of time. If some students are not being engaged in the activity, model the task. Some students just don't know what it means to get tutored or receive help or what they should do, what they should listen for. So model that for them. And of course, walk around and make sure that students are on task. The application that was in the text. Mr. Tyler's 11th grade writing class, he noticed students, when he was reading their essays, they were misusing the homophones there, and there. And they were also having trouble with the possessive form and the contraction form of its. He decided to create a lesson plan that incorporated with the small groups for those that needed the grammar skill help, and those that didn't need the help, they had an assignment that they were assigned to do in groups where they had to search for or find examples of how authors reached their goals to the audience. Okay, so Mr. Tyler again provided an introduction for that task that those who were pretty much don't need the grammar skill needed to do, and those that did need some of the grammar help, they were rotated into his group for a few minutes to practice the skill. Mr. Tyler had them practice at home in their homework, and when they uh, came back with their homework, they were to partner. They were partnered up with another student in the class to ensure that they were properly using those forms that for that specific skill. So, and after that, he also provided a resource for students to check before turning in more work. So, all of this is just to ensure that the skill is being learned for all the students. My example, again, goes back to reducing fractions. Um, I noticed that students were not reducing fractions completely on the weekly quizzes. So I just had them I came up with a lesson. It was a prime factorization lesson. The students that were already understanding how to, reduce a fraction down to its lowest terms, I had them start building the class a prime number sheet so that we could use that to ensure that when we were reducing our fractions, we had to make sure to match all of our factors to that prime factor sheet. And the students, again, that were still having some trouble on factoring, had them come to my group or come to the specific side of the class where we would go over step by step how to uh, begin factoring our numbers. Okay, so after that, after I showed students and guided them on about 7 examples, I had them practice on their own, and then I had them work with those students that already knew how to practice with them as well. To start building up that key, that prime factorization, that prime number key for us to use with our future reduction problems. The approximation behaviors for 9th through 12th will, I'm sorry, 9th through 12th grade students will ask questions to generate descriptive terms, use verbal interaction to resolve conflict, and participate actively in small group interactions.